Okay, so today I'm joined by Megan, who is like a big part of CANSA. She is the nutrition and dietitian consultant for them. And we just wanted to unpack a little bit, about the new collaboration, the new partnership, and really talk about all things movement and why it's so important to get moving and kind of the science behind it, because you definitely the science, the food doctor, if I can say that, and you are very much responsible for putting that CANSA seal stamp onto your partner's initiatives. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm definitely part of the team that does that, and it's really exciting to have you on board.
Well, I'm going to ask you a few questions, but I think I'll set the tone. So the first thing really is that we are going through one hell of a 2 years, the last 2 years with regards to navigating our way through a pandemic. But I think at the same time that we've been going through that, there has been this parallel pandemic when it comes to inactivity, lifestyle-related diseases, sedentary lifestyles, too much sitting, a lot of stress, and then things like your diabetes and all kinds of lifestyle-related diseases that I think are becoming more and more prevalent now than they were before. So there's this whole parallel pandemic that's happening at the same time, but people are becoming more and more aware of their health now more than ever before. What do you think about that? I mean, we've seen that in our business, that there's this huge movement and awareness around health and nutrition and exercise, and am I doing the best that I could be for my body, and how do I become a better version of me? Because there's been an awakening, if I can say that. What are your views on that?
100%. So yes, in terms of since the pandemic started, I think people's lifestyles have changed dramatically due to things like lockdown. So we've kind of seen two different groups that have formed through that. One group, especially what you're referring to now, is the group that have become more aware of keeping active during this time, the importance of, keeping, looking after themselves from a lifestyle point of view, incorporating regular activity, and in doing that, also because of them having a little bit more flexibility, doing it more, in a home environment or in an environment outside of what they normally would have done. And then we've also seen, quite rightfully so, another group where people have gone into lockdown, or they have obviously stayed away from places like gyms, etc., and a little bit fearful to go back. But in that period, they haven't done exercise. They haven't done regular checkups with their healthcare practitioners. They haven't necessarily, kept to eating more, should we say, healthily. And we have seen a huge spike in people now looking at their health with increased, and this is more looking at it from my perspective of what I've seen as a dietitian. We're seeing people coming in now that are being diagnosed with diabetes or heart disease, and it is an increase because of what their lifestyle change has actually happened to them over this period. So quite rightfully so, and people haven't been that creative. So the group that's been creative in saying, well, what can we do at home and how can we maximize our health, and they've got into it and they've done online and they said we're loving this, and they've formed part of a fraternity and they've given it everything. On the other side, exactly that. We really need to look at those people and hopefully change that mindset.
Isn't that human behavior though? You've got your victims and your victors, and those that went into the pandemic saying, I will not let this derail me. I'm going to keep those healthy behaviors as part of my daily lifestyle. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to make a plan. I'm not going to let this get the better of me. I've worked so hard for all these years, and I want to be able to maintain my healthy lifestyle. And that's what we've been trying to promote, is obviously getting people to exercise at home, incidental exercise, move more, and using rebounding as part of that, because it is so convenient and affordable, all of those things. And then you have the other side of the coin where people have used it as an excuse to kind of let themselves go and be like, well, I can't go to gym, I'm stressed, my business, my this, my that. And so they've used this as all the reasons to maybe fall off the wagon and not get back on. So yeah, but that's life. Everything is those that thrive and those that don't in any situation. And it's all about attitude and your perception, I guess.
100%. And the people that haven't been keeping up with their healthy lifestyle or healthier choices, I think it's also important to know that it's never too late. That if they now decide, they are one of those people that needs to make a lifestyle change, that this is something that they can do, that it's actually within their grasp. And I would really recommend that this is the way to start, is by shifting, joining a group, because very often we do so much better when we do exercise together. We are people that love to do things as a community, and that the online community is something that they can really investigate.
Find your tribe of like-minded individuals. Hey.
Exactly. Yes.
So I know that the World Health Organization has kind of changed their basic exercise, their weekly exercise requirements. So not only about your movement per day, but also like where does the heart rate need to get to qualify as good enough cardiovascular exercise to reduce your risk levels of lifestyle-related diseases, but also to sort of stress and strain the heart to keep the heart muscle growing. And there's quite a big misconception around that, because I try and tell my clients this all the time. Going for a walk is great. It's definitely better than sitting on the couch, that's for sure, to get moving and get your lymphatic system stimulated. But you also need to get your heart rate up. Like you can't just, like if you are, unless you have a condition or you're injured or whatever, if you're a healthy individual, you need to get that heart rate up. So can you shed some light on, or would you like me to, or can you shed some light on what the World Health Organization standards are currently for movements?
So look, obviously we look at different age groups, and like you've said, what we're referring to is basically our healthy adult population more than anything else at this point in time. But we're looking at a minimum of 150 minutes of exercise, and then yes, 100%. You can actually even bring that down depending on how intense your exercise is. So your intensity, and I'll leave the numbers and maybe the percentages up to you, but the intensity makes a huge difference. And also the combination of different types of exercises, so weight bearing, exercises versus cardiovascular exercises, all have to come into the fold. And you can't just do, which I think many of us are guilty of very often, is we enjoy one type of activity. I take myself, I would like to go for a run, but that's not necessarily going to be the best option if I don't do any type of cross training, can I call it? So very importantly, is to start at a point of, if we're just looking at the person that's not doing anything, and then they want to keep going, firstly, to get their healthcare practitioners go ahead, and then secondly, to look at alternative exercises, joining a group that'll keep them motivated, and also very importantly, looking at the combination of cardiovascular exercises, as you're indicating now, increasing intensity, because we do need that. You can't just have a very low intensity exercise and expect that this is going to be sufficient. But as you rightly said, it's a good starting point, but it needs to get better after that. So start at, your 150 minutes a week, 30 minutes, 5 times a week is really what we're looking at. And, people can put that in place. It's sometimes a shift in our, basically in what's important to us and our priorities. But the moment we start prioritizing our health, we actually do so much better. So I don't know, Lisa, if you want to maybe just unpack it a little bit more in terms of the actual intensities or anything like that. But yes, please do go ahead.
150 minutes is no joke. That is 5 times a week for 30 minutes, and the heart rates do need to be at 70 to 80% of your maximum. So to give those that are watching this an indication, if you take 220 beats per minute and you deduct your age, that gives you your maximum, and you want to be working at 70 to 80% of that for 30 minutes, consecutive minutes. Now, no amount of walking, unless you are power walking up hills and you've got your little wrist weights on, is going to get your heart rate to that point. So, that's some food for thought for those that are watching, thinking that daily little walk with the dogs or playing with the kids, it's all great. It all qualifies as movement, which is fantastic, but it is not necessarily enough to get our heart rate up. And what you said about cross-training and making sure that we're looking at the body as a balanced thing, we have to look at the 3 components, and that is your cardiovascular exercise, that is your weight training or resistance strength training, and then also flexibility. So those 3 things need to be factored in. And what better way to do something than do something that's fun? I mean, most of us would like to do something that is fun. And that is one of the reasons why I do love to advocate rebounding as part of your weekly routine. It doesn't have to be the only thing that you do, but definitely something that quantifies as a low impact exercise, which adds enormous value even to runners out there that want to have a day of high impact and then a day of low impact that follows. So it's not so much wear and tear, it's not so much of the same thing, which can sometimes exacerbate injuries or overuse, but having that strength day, then a rebounding day, then a running day, so that you're creating that variety and making sure that your body is challenged in many different ways and that you're ticking all those basic principles of exercise boxes. So fun factor will make sure that you stick to it, and rebounding is fun, but also to make sure that you're doing the strength, cardio, and the flexibility. And the one thing that I love about rebounding, well, I love so many things about rebounding, but that because of the gravitational force of the rebounding, that acceleration and deceleration of every bounce. So it is working against gravity, against the G-force, that when you bounce, it actually qualifies as resistance training, which means that you can actually do two things at once. So you can get your heart rate up, but because of the nature of rebounding, working against gravity, it helps to tone the body and build lean muscle tissue. So like you're doing two things at once. So that's like bonus for people that are time strapped,
Absolutely. And also the moment you get into doing something regularly, which I think is sometimes the biggest challenge for many people, is we all get excited about something, and then like you get a gym membership and then you do it for the next 2 weeks every day, you can hardly move, and then you stop. Where this is something you can actually build up, you can do it in the convenience of your own home, and I know you offer different types of workout programs and also different times, which then immediately makes people that have that flexibility in terms of their day, they can choose something, take a break during the day from work and join you. Or if there are people that work, for example, in the hospital, I see the healthcare professionals as well as the nursing staff. They work from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, and there are things that they can do outside of that, and get involved and continue with it. And I think that type of flexibility in saying, well, I can't exercise because I'm so I've got a structured work schedule, but in actual fact you can, because this is available to you to actually to utilize, and it's brought into your home the flexibility and the convenience of ensuring that you can start your fitness journey if you haven't yet. So absolutely. And you can just say, all the benefits that you've just mentioned are so important. You know what, Lisa, the one thing that I think is important is very often we're seeing people that are now, can we say post-COVID, but at this point in time are going to their healthcare professionals and say, well, wait a minute, I have now some health concerns and I'm older. And let me just add that the guidelines, when I say the guidelines, the international guidelines for exercise actually indicate, for people over the age of 65, that they also need to look at their exercise in terms of intensity and, number of minutes per week. Very, very similar to this. And of course, we once again say, check with your healthcare practitioner, get their guidance, maybe your fitness professional that can assist you as well. But you can also be part of this. And it's never too late to start if you're realizing that you now have these health concerns. As long as you're being monitored, you're going to get the benefit from it.
We have a lot of individuals that sign up for rebounding post 60 years old. It is definitely not too late. In fact, recently we've been posting some images of some of our ladies that are 60 and have seen the most incredible results from continuing on a bounty journey for 18 months or so. So sort of in lockdown, they were looking for an alternative way of exercising safely, the comfort of their own home. They didn't have to go out. And so they started, and their bodies have transformed. Their health has transformed. Blood pressure down, cholesterol down, stress levels down, all of that, but also their bodies have transformed. So it is definitely not too late if you are 55, 60, 65 to jump, excuse the pun, on the bandwagon and start to incorporate rebounding. There are different programs and workouts for every single individual. We start from as little as 3 years old with bounty kids, all the way up to our older folk who we have something called a foundation program, which is the simplest of all. Starting with 2 minutes, you have a support bar, minimal movements, minimal accessories, minimal choreography. It's simple to get your foundation rebounding intact so that you can build from there and then start going up the ranks of the different programs we offer. But there's something for everyone, no matter how fit, no matter what age, no matter what stage you're at. We offer these free online classes for South African, well, for anybody in the world really. And we have 22 of these classes a week, and they are from your ones, your B2Bs, your real entry level, right through to your hits, your advanced clients that need their heart challenged because they're so fit already. And 22 of them a week, every week, and totally free. So there's like no excuse, you know what I mean? So yeah, there is, I believe that this is the one exercise modality. I mean, walking is free too, but walking is not always conducive to weather. Like Joburg in the winter is freezing, it's dark, it's not necessarily always safe to go out unless you're in a big group.
Right.
So this is something that the young kiddies can do right through to your mature, 60 plus folk, that they can do, that's safe, that's low impact, that's in the comfort of their own home, and it's it's not dependent on load shedding, weather. It's you can do it at any stage, with or without power, and no matter what season of the year, no matter what time of day. So it is an all-inclusive form of exercise, which I love, because I've been doing this for 20 years and I have tried every type of exercise modality, and there's lots of fun ones and lots of ones that work. But this is definitely the one that I found to be the most inclusive. One rebounder in a household will serve the child right through to your 60 plus, and everybody can use the same piece of exercise equipment and enjoy it in a different way, do a different program, different intensity, and it's quite affordable as well, which is something to consider. Setting up a home gym or having this beautiful fancy treadmill isn't always in everybody's means, but having a rebounder is,
And what I hear you saying is it's for the family. So all family members can get involved, which is really great. And the people that are, if you're a couch potato and you're starting out, you're a person that we can look at and that you can, like you say, start with a foundational program. And if you're an athlete and you're wanting to do this for cross training, it's very important. And we also know that exercise does play a really important role when it comes to reducing the risk of cancers. And of course, it always goes in hand with the other, very important lifestyle changes that might need to be made, be it from a dietary perspective or sleep, in meditation or just relaxation. But exercise is the one that very often we battle with. And I'm so glad you mentioned things like safety, because that's something that I often hear. Well, it's not safe, I only get home after 7 at night. But now you have this option. So it is definitely something to consider.
So talking about cancer patients and those that are going through treatments, like cancer treatment survivors, you've been working with cancer for a long time. Do you have any insight into how rebound or even just movement, exercise can help those that are, cancer survivors? You are the expert when it comes to that. So I'd love to just hear if you've got any insights there.
Yes, in actual fact, there is research that shows that exercise, particularly with certain cancers, where we always have different levels of evidence. And as we were chatting, looking at science is what we base many of our decisions on. And we always look at, the best level of evidence. And when you look at the base level of evidence, we've got a load of different cancers that have been shown to benefit from regular activity, but particularly cancer per se, lifestyle, and obviously helping to reduce the incidence of obesity, because obesity is linked to the increase in cancer. So that really immediately covers no matter who you are. If you would like to lose some weight, you also want to do it in such a way that you're going to benefit your health. So you want to increase your muscle, as you indicated as well. That would be something that the cancer patient would benefit from. And of course, we once again always say, check with your healthcare professional, but majority of people that are going through cancer treatment can do some type of exercise, and at the times that they can in between their treatment, that is always advisable. So they check with their healthcare professional, they keep with their fitness professional while they do something like your rebounding, and they have been shown to actually then reduce their incidence of cancer as well. So it does play a role, and there's lots of research out, published articles regarding exercise and actually helping to reduce basically your incidence of cancer. So people that have a family history and want to be preventative, they would definitely benefit. And we always say the moment you're diagnosed with cancer and you go onto treatment, you're basically a cancer survivor, because we're wanting at this point to have the best outcome. So part of your treatment with your healthcare professional's advice would be regular exercise, and you could definitely then look at your rebounding, because it is something that they can do in the confines of their own home. So looking at it from an immunity point of view, and also the different intensities that they then are able to consider, and that rebounding offers.
Can I ask you a little question about the lymphatic system? Because most people know that there is such a thing with the lymphatic system, but there's a lot of education out there that needs to happen, because a lot of people don't realize that the lymphatic system is really like the human dustbin, and it takes away a lot of the toxins and it helps to do the dirty work for our bodies. But everyone knows about blood, right? But the lymph system seems to be this anomaly. And then when you hear cancer and you know a little bit about it, you know that it's linked with the lymphatic system. And so it's important to get that lymphatic system stimulated and cleansed, and keep it as clean as possible. Can you shed some light on why do you need to keep the lymphatic system so clean? Like, why do you need to stimulate it? What's the purpose of that? And then most people know, but if they don't, that rebounding really helps to stimulate the lymphatic system. So that's where that whole cancer rebounding kind of synergizes there in that nice little middle part there.
Yes, so the lymphatic system basically it doesn't have its own, should we say, blood system really, and what happens is that gravity keeps whatever arrives in the lymphatic system, unless there is some type of massage, trying to move everything out of the Yes. And so with your rebounding, that movement basically works against it, which then helps to shift whatever is in the lymphatic system. And we often see that there are certain cancers that are, like you indicated, it was a good way of putting it. They are like the dustbins, aren't they? And you want to move whatever is in there and shift it out and clean out the lymphatic system. So movement against gravity helps us to do that. And very often, just by sitting all day in front of your computer working, you don't necessarily have to have something like cancer to actually have a problem with circulation and lymph build up and overflow of fluids, etc. So everyone needs to actually have some type of movement that works against the build-up in the lymphatic system and basically emptying it out, because that build-up is obviously detrimental. It then forms part of certain of your should we call it toxins in the body, and you're not clearing it sufficiently, and that leads to a host of other health concerns and problems. So yes, we do know that there's one thing that we have found with rebounding, and that's why cancer is very excited about it, is it does help in terms of the lymphatic system and helping to move the lymph, as which we do need to do. Yeah.
You're talking about sitting all day, and I mean, a lot of people are doing that. They're still very much on Zoom or in meetings, virtual meetings. And I advocate with our clients, keep your rebounder next to your desk. It's one of the few pieces of equipment that you can actually keep there. And between every single Zoom call, just get on your rebounder for 1 minute and move your lymphatic system. Breathe, do some nice deep breaths, move, get that oxygen to the brain, get your lymph moving around your body, energize your system, just get things moving, and then you can sit back down at your desk. Even if it's these little exercise snacks, as we call them, they don't have to be the full 30 minutes sweating and now you've got your work clothes on. Just put your rebounder next to your desk, whether you're at work or whether you're at home, and just bounce in between things. It's one of the few things that you can do in between that's so convenient.
It has actually a lot of other, benefits, musculoskeletal benefits, as you'll know as well, because from sitting in one position the whole time, we've seen how many people have to go to healthcare professionals, and because of all the intense, the neck muscles and what they're sitting on, and the type of chair, and the actual all those problems problems start to become actually exasperated by sitting in front of a computer all day. Yet we know that exactly by what you've just mentioned, by getting up and actually having some level of movement on a regular basis while doing it helps to reduce that. So just from that perspective, it's a good start to consider it.
Okay, so I know we've got to wrap up, but we are very excited. Thank you so much for choosing Bounti as a partner of yours. I'm very, very excited about the education that is to come and some of the awesome activations that we're going to be doing together in the years that follow. So we're very excited about it, and hopefully we can add some enormous value and awareness, get people to move more, to help with the sort of minimizing or reducing the risks of developing cancers by moving, getting onto a rebounder, get your lymph nice and squeaky clean, guys. It's your choice, and try and do it in a nice, fun, convenient, affordable way. That we definitely are trying to provide an option for those people that don't want to leave home or that can't spend a lot of money, but they want to buy one thing and the whole family can use. So hopefully through your campaigns, our campaigns, we can get more people active and prevent, any cancers from developing in that individual's life. So we're excited. We hope that you are too.
You should be very excited, and we welcome on board as our partner, and the Cancer Seal of Recognition program, and anyone's welcome to go onto our website, and they can also then see our partners, but particularly you being our new partner and in the physical activity category as well. It's really exciting that they would be able to go onto the website. They can also go directly onto your website or onto ours, click on the link, have a look what's available in terms of rebounding and the different options, and take it from there in terms of looking after their health. And so it doesn't matter, as we've mentioned, what age. It doesn't matter if you are a cancer survivor, if you're trying to prevent cancer. I think we know that exercise is so important, and we would really like everyone to join us on this journey and improving their health. And we look forward to the future together in terms of rebounding. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your time today. And we're very excited about the future.